Hey guys, thanks for joining me. So if this is your first video that you've watched of mine, I'm working on building this 1972 Honda CB450 into a vintage road race bike. And one of the things that I'm going to be working on tonight is eliminating some of the charging system. So because this is going to be a road race bike, I am going to run a total loss ignition system, which means that there will not be, I'm getting rid of all the charging system. So I am going to keep the starter just to make it easy for me to start the motorcycle in the pits. However, I'm getting rid of all of the electronics that go with the starting system, and I'll be just running or using a battery box. So I'll connect that battery box with the starter solenoid directly to the starter on my motorcycle, and that's what I'll use to fire it up. And as part of total loss ignition, I'm going to be getting rid of the whole charging system. So I've already taken the bolts out of this cover, so now I'm just going to pull it off. And typically inside this cover, you will have your stator that bolts into these, or that bolts in where these holes are. So I've already removed the stator as well. So the next thing that I'm going to be doing is eliminating this magnetic counterweight is what I'm going to call it. Basically what this does, it's a magnet, and it's connected to the end of the crankshaft. So as the engine turns over and the crankshaft spins, this generates an electromagnetic field in the stator, which is just a whole bunch of wires all coiled up and wound together. But anyways, so that generates your magnetic field, and that is what you use to charge the battery on a motorcycle. So part of the reason I want to get rid of this is because it's heavy and it's a lot of rotating mass. And on a race bike, you want to eliminate as much rotating mass as possible. So to get this off, it is threaded inside of here, and there is a Honda specialty tool that I ordered online that I'm going to use to do that. It is a fairly large size, it's basically just a large size bolt. I didn't want to deal with the hassle of trying to figure out what thread size and pitch this was, so I just went ahead and ordered the specialty tool from Common Motor. It was like $12, $14, something relatively inexpensive. So this just threads in here, and it is a 16 millimeter on the end. So I'm just going to run this in. And something is not happy with me. There we go. It just needed a little more oomph. Okay. So there is this, this might actually be a magnet. Yep, that's a magnet on the back. And I believe that came out of here. I'm gonna have to be careful on where that came out of. Now that I have this off, I'm going to just run this back out, take my tool back out. Basically what this does is as this threads in, it gets to a certain point and it just pushes this whole thing off. So on the back of this is the starter clutch. So if you were eliminating the starter completely and you were going to either kickstart it every time, or you were going to, I think they're called roll starters. It's basically like a little mechanism that goes underneath the back tire and it spins the back tire to start it. So similar to push starting it, but you don't actually have to push the motorcycle and run behind it. If you were going to do that, you could eliminate this part completely. I am not going to be doing that. Like I said, I'm going to keep the starter just for simplicity. And so on the back of here is the starter clutch. And so I cannot get rid of that. However, I might have some other options. So it looks like my starter clutch, oh, and that's where this little magnet just came from. So it actually came from right inside of here, so I can put that back together. So there are 3 Phillips head screws that are connecting the starter clutch to this magnetic counterweight. I'm just looking to see if there's a way that I can disconnect this and still run it on here. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to work. So inside here, there is a keyway, and I have my key in the end of my crank. So I think what I'm going to do is I have a couple of friends who are machinists, and I think that I'm just going to have them machine this down as much as possible. So they'll basically be leaving probably this back part, kind of where my finger is, and then they'll machine the majority of this outer part off. It's kind of crude and unusual, but I think that that's going to be my best option right now. So there you have it. That is how you eliminate the the charging system on a 1972 Honda CB450. So stay tuned to follow along with my build, see what else I'm working on. I'm going to have videos coming up about rebuilding the front brake caliper. I will have videos about overall bike and updates. I'm going to have some videos with me making exhaust brackets now that I have all of my exhaust parts. And I'm sure there will be some other fun goodies coming up as well. So again, thank you for joining me, and we'll see you next time.